Payne Haas has just exposed the dark underbelly of the Brisbane Broncos' inner sanctum, revealing a locker room confrontation that nearly ended in absolute disaster. For years, the towering prop has been the cornerstone of the club, but behind the scenes, a simmering feud with a teammate reached a point of no return. The revelation has stunned the rugby league world because it involves a player few expected would ever challenge the big man's authority. In a moment of raw honesty, Haas admitted that the line between professional competition and personal vendetta was completely blurred during a heated exchange that required senior players to physically intervene. This isn't just about a minor disagreement, it is a story of how a single moment of ego almost tore a premiership contending team apart from the inside out. The fallout from this admission is already causing a stir at Red Hill, as the true nature of their culture is laid bare. Subscribe to all sports updates. The tension began on a humid afternoon during a high-stakes training session where every error was magnified under the watchful eyes of the coaching staff. According to Haas, the teammate in question was Albert Kelly, and what started as a simple tactical dispute quickly spiraled into a verbal assault that challenged Payne's leadership and commitment. Kelly allegedly crossed a line by mocking Haas's off-field struggles, hitting a nerve that the giant prop usually keeps under lock and key. The atmosphere in the gym turned icy as the two stood chest to chest, the air thick with the threat of immediate violence. It was a scene of pure volatility that could have resulted in long-term suspensions or even contract terminations if the situation hadn't been diffused by a veteran leader who sensed the impending explosion. This rare glimpse into the Broncos' private battles proves that even the strongest brotherhoods have cracks that can become chasms in an instant. As the story circulated through the media, fans were left questioning how deep the resentment truly ran within the squad during that tumultuous period. Haas described the feeling of his blood boiling as he realized that the trust he had built with his halves was evaporating in a cloud of insults and frustration. The irony of the situation is that while they were fighting for the same goal on the field, they were seemingly at war in the tunnels. The club had worked tirelessly to project an image of unity, but this revelation suggests that the Broncos' wave was under siege by internal bickering. Every drill and every tackle became a proxy for the personal dislike brewing between the superstar forward and the mercurial playmaker. It was a high-stakes psychological game where the first one to blink would lose the respect of the entire locker room. All sports updates. Imagine the scene where the coaching staff had to separate their most valuable asset from a player who was supposed to be his creative partner. The silence in the room afterward was more deafening than the shouting that preceded it, as the weight of the potential consequences settled on everyone present. Haas reflected on how close he came to throwing a punch that would have likely ended his season and destroyed his reputation as a maturing leader. He spoke about the difficulty of walking away when his instinct was to defend his honor at all costs. This moment of restraint was perhaps the most significant victory of his career, yet the memory of the rage still lingers like a ghost in the hallway. It highlights the immense pressure these athletes are under and the razor-thin margins between being a hero and becoming a cautionary tale in the headlines. The storytelling of this incident has now become a pivotal part of the Broncos' modern lore, serving as a reminder of the fragility of team harmony. Haas's decision to name Kelly as the one who pushed him to the brink shows a new level of transparency that is rarely seen in the modern NRL. He isn't interested in protecting a false narrative anymore, he wants the world to understand the reality of the grind. The Shoegate incident, which was initially laughed off as a minor scuffle over a pair of sneakers, was actually the tip of a much larger iceberg involving respect and hierarchy. Behind the pushing and shoving caught on camera was a deep-seated frustration about the direction of the club and the accountability of individual players. It was a power struggle that defined an entire season of uncertainty and transition for the Brisbane faithful. In a moment of surprise, Haas actually credited that near brawl with saving his relationship with the rest of the forward pack. By standing his ground, he signaled that he wouldn't be bullied or belittled, even by those within his own camp. This act of defiance earned him a new level of respect from the younger players who were looking for a leader to follow. However, the cost was the total breakdown of his partnership with Kelly, who was eventually moved on from the starting side. The club had to choose between their once-in-a-generation prop and a journeyman half, and the decision was made with clinical efficiency. The revelation proves that the locker room is a shark tank where only the strongest survive the cultural shift. It's a compelling look at the ruthless nature of professional sport where friendships are often sacrificed on the altar of progress. The Rabbitohs and other rival clubs have watched this drama unfold with keen interest, realizing that the internal dynamics of the Broncos are far more complex than they appear. If a player of Haas's stature can be pushed to the edge by a teammate, it suggests a level of vulnerability that can be exploited on game day. The leaked details of the confrontation have forced the Brisbane administration to address the toxicity rumors that have dogged the club for years. They are now working double time to ensure that the current roster doesn't fall into the same traps of ego and resentment that nearly broke Payne. The storytelling of his journey from a hot-headed youth to a disciplined captain is incomplete without acknowledging these dark moments that tested his resolve. It's a narrative of growth, but also a warning that the fire inside him still burns. What happens next will be a true test of the Broncos' resilience as they navigate the fallout of these honest admissions. If Haas can use this experience to foster a more authentic culture of accountability, the club could return to its former glory. If the naming of Kelly causes a new rift among former teammates, the cycle of drama might never end. The fans are divided, with some praising Haas for his honesty and others fearing that the tell-all approach will only invite more scrutiny. The pressure is on the leadership group to turn this shocking revelation into a catalyst for positive change rather than a distraction. As the team prepares for the upcoming season, the ghost of that locker room battle remains a powerful motivator for everyone involved. The stakes have never been higher for the man wearing the number 10 jersey. The final word on this saga belongs to Payne himself, who maintains that he has no regrets about the way things played out. He believes that the truth, no matter how painful or explosive, is the only way to move forward as a united front. The game of rugby league is built on toughness, but Haas has shown that the hardest battles aren't always fought on the grass. They are fought in the quiet corners of the training facility and the loud, crowded spaces of the locker room. This chapter of his career is a testament to the fact that greatness requires more than just physical strength. It requires the courage to face your own demons and the people who provoke them. Stay tuned as we continue to track the impact of this revelation on the Broncos season. All sports updates. Would you like me to write a script exploring the potential fallout for the Broncos coaching staff after these revelations, or should we look at a deep dive into another club's hidden internal drama?